beauty that you see, that is visible to you, but admire the Creator's sculpturing that beauty, Creator's beauty. Yes. That's what He wants us to do. But what happens is this: we get trapped. This reminds me of a story of at the time of in every Advent, in all Advents, he has been harping on this subject of Maya, this principle of ignorance. That which is not, we take it to be reality. Just as that beautiful girl, we take it to be, that is the, it's not an emblem of beauty, but it's beauty, we call it. Eh? Don't we call it? It is. We say it, isn't it? But it's nothing, it's a symbolic representation of the Creator's beauty, as Baba wanted us to know and remain aware about it. But we take it to be beauty. And what is it? What is behind it that makes us feel that? It is that principle of ignorance called Maya. That's what he said. Baba says, Baba gave us this definition of Maya. Maya is the principle of ignorance. Not Maya, Maya, of course, with due deference to, where is Travers today? So, Maya is that. That's what it is. So, at the time of Buddha, at the time of Krishna, at the time of Jesus, every time, everywhere, any time, in all Advents, all the time he has been harping on, beware of Maya. You don't get entangled, keep away. It is that which makes you feel it's real, but no, it's nothing but a shadow. Maya is the shadow of reality. And surely, if the reality is so beautiful, so big, and so alluring, how much shadow should be so, to that extent, isn't it, in proportion? So it is beautiful, it is alluring and all that. But beware, it's after all a shadow. So in every Advent, he has been telling us. So this is a good story that comes at the time, you see, of Buddha. Here also he told us many times in this Advent. But having known the past, we didn't venture to give him more trouble this time. You see, we knew that what Maya is or what mischief it plays. So what had happened is, at the time of Buddha, there was his own disciple, you see, very loved one by name Ananda. So his own kith and kin, his very fond disciple. So he would be all the time with him, wherever he would go, in his discourses, in his debates, in anything and everything, Ananda would be there. Because he was there, brought up from his childhood at the feet of the Lord, Buddha at the time. So every time Ananda would be hearing a discourse on, oh, beware of this Maya. You have no idea the grip it has over you. Don't get yourself caught, and so forth. So time and again, Ananda used to hear all this naturally. Buddha is addressing the crowd, the public there. So one day says to his uncle, or whatever it be, he may be to him, or his father, or his friend, or his companion. He was so close, you see. So he says, but he would always address him as the Lord. So he says, my Lord, you have been telling us about this Maya so often. You have been telling to beware about it. Keep away from it. But after all, what is it? What is it? He says, well, it is your ignorance, and it is this, and it is that, and all that. But nothing satisfied. And of course, he didn't press the point. And Buddha didn't even go deep into it. Years passed by, and he continued to address the public to beware about Maya and all that. So one day, a day came, when Buddha tells this young man, he says, Ananda, will you come with me? I have got very important work to be done. But I don't want any of my other disciples. Will you accompany me? It's a very difficult thing. And I want only you to be by my side. So he says, yes, my Lord, I am ready to go wherever you want me to go. He says, yes. So they go. Both of them go out. Nobody follows. And they are going, and a couple of days have passed by, and Ananda doesn't know where the Lord is leading him or anything of the sort. So it is summer time in India, and there one afternoon, Buddha says to Ananda, Ananda, I am really tired today and I am thirsty. I'll sit here on this rock under this tree, shade of the tree. You better go and find me a glass of water and get me soon. I want water. I'm so thirsty. He says, yes, my Lord, I will go. You can't get water, you can't have faucets or anything. So you have to go in search of a stream or something, So have you heard this story before?
No, not this one.
No. No? So he goes out in search of it. He tries to find a house, you see. Suppose if he comes across a brook, how will he get water? You can't collect water and give it to him like that. He needs something, you see. He is much anxious about the health and condition of his Lord. So he is rushing from one place to another. He does not know. He looks out, you see. Any sign of any hutment or anything of that sort. He eventually goes far away and he spots a house. Very far away. But he must have traveled about 2 miles or so like that. Away from the sight of the Lord and all that. And he spots a house. It's a nice place, good big farm and all that. So he goes, surely there will be water. Naturally, somebody will lend him a glass. Well, after all, if he were to tell that my Lord wants it, nobody would deny it. So he goes and knocks at the door in a hurry. And the door opens. And what does he see? A very beautiful damsel with a smile. Says, yes, what do you want? And he is speechless. Speechless. He can't say. He just looks at her. He has fallen in love with her. Just there and there, you see. Head over heels. He was handsome. Ananda was handsome himself, young. So she says to him, it seems that you are very tired. You are out of breath. Come inside. So he looks at her and follows her. So sit down. Would like to eat something, and she brings some food and some water and all that, and he eats and he drinks water and feels nourished and all the time looks at her. So the parents who are in another room, they come out and say, what is our daughter doing? You see, there's a handsome person there, and they are wonderstruck as to what's this, who could this be, because he was with the Lord himself, so his personality had a different, what do you call, glow, yeah. And they themselves are startled with his personality, And the first thought they had is, how good it would be if he were to become a son-in-law, because she is of the marriageable age.
Everybody was glowing like anything.
Yeah. This always happens. It always happens. It glows at the time, you see. Yeah. So what happens is, it was not the glow from the Lord, but glow from the woman's beauty. It's always, it's not New York, but it's even a desert region. So what happens is, now, so they ask him, may we know whether you are married or single? He says, no, I'm single, I'm not married. Oh. Have you any parents or any attachments or anything sort anywhere? He says, no, I have nobody. Because he had nobody, Says, then they say that we are so happy to have you in the house. He says, thank you. I am happy to also be at this place. I feel nourished and my thirst has been quenched. He completely forgot the thirst of the Lord. Yeah. So, says, you are welcome. They say, the parents say, says, thank you. So, may we ask you one thing in return for our hospitality? Says, yes. Says, if you don't mind, we embolden ourselves to give you the hand of our daughter. Will you accept it? And who would say no to such a beautiful person? Yeah, he was not married and he was a bachelor, and says, sure. I feel myself fortunate to have come here and all that. Says, not only that, they got him married. They got him, it took some days, got him married, and he bore 2 children. In the meantime, the parents died. I'm cutting the whole story. It's a long drawn story. I'm cutting all that. So he got married, he bore 2 children, he fathered 2 children from her, and they became the owners of the whole farm and the property and all that because the parents died. Now the farm flourished, it was very fertile spot, and a river skirted, and that's the reason why they had a lot of water and all that in the farm and all that. And it's wonderful. And you may imagine, you see, when they have two children, then 7-8 years passed by. And they were flourishing. Once monsoon season, it rained so hard that the water started rising in the river. It flooded the farm. Water started coming in, entered the house. And he didn't know, they were startled, the wife and this young man, they are startled. The children are there, they don't know what to do. So they are the owners of the place. So they don't know now, the waters are rushing in. So with great difficulty, he catches hold of the arm of, wrist of his wife on one side, the wrist of the child, you see, on the other, and makes the little baby, makes him sit on his shoulders, and he goes on swimming, And he goes, trying to get away from this to some higher place where the rivers have not inundated this spot. So he's trying to swim, you see, against all this. He knows if he were to go in current with the river, he would be dashed to pieces. So he tries to struggle up current. So now, in that process, he gets tired and loosens his grip on the child because the wrist is a bit thin and all. So the child slips and finishes, it's gone. He can't go in search of the child now because he'll lose his wife, you see. So what happens is, in the process of swimming, what happened that this child fell. With the fall of the child, he was so nervous that his grip on the child, other child also got lost, and both child got drowned. So now he is so grief-stricken, he does not know, he's trying to struggle with one arm of his wife is there, one wrist of wife and all that. That also is loosened, and she's shrieking because of great suffering, because she has lost two children and all that, and she gets lost and all that. So this whole solitary person now has lost his wife, has lost his children, seems to have gone away from his property. He's struggling hard to get to some place where he's there. And eventually, out of breath, he strikes against a dry spot which is higher than all this, where river has not inundated, and he's there and he faints, he swoons. When he gets up, out of his swoon and all that, to his surprise, he sees the Lord sitting on the rock there. And he gets on his feet and runs to him. So as soon as he approaches, the Lord asks, Ananda, have you brought the water for me? How is it possible? I forgot about it. So what happened? Where did you go? 3 hours I have been waiting for you. 3 hours? How 3 hours? It's now so many years have passed by. I got married and this and that, and then he weeps, bitterly at the feet of the Lord. And he recollects what happened immediately. He says, don't worry if you have not brought the water. I just wanted you to know what Maya is. This is Maya. He says, this is Maya. You wanted to know, this is how it is. Without your knowing it, it happens. It grips you. Without your not wanting it, it grips you. It holds you. So beware, beware. That's what he had said. How did you first hear of Baba?
Of Ram Das.
We have Ram Das Apune over here.
So it used to be Richard Alford.
Oh, Richard Alford. Baba Ram Das, you mean?
Yeah,
Baba Ram.
Book, Be Here Now.
Pardon?
His first book, Be Here Now.
Yeah.
Mary Baba was mentioned in there and was drawing it into there. Gradually got more and more interested in it.
But that book, you read it recently?
Well, I kind of refer to it. It's one of those books that has a lot of different traditions and so forth, and it's sort of a reference book.
No, but you read it recently or read it some years ago? Because
no, it's about 7 years ago.
7 years. You're from which part of the States?
Texas.
Texas.
Is Ramdas a Baba lover?
Of course, Ramdas is a Baba lover. Otherwise, how can he be Das? Das means slave, Ram means of Ram, slave of Ram.
Because I had heard stories about him. That,
What do you mean means about
Baba, who is Richard Alpert?
Richard Alpert?
Yes,
You
that's
mean?
one.
No, he is not. He was a Baba liker.
was,
He was a Baba liker.
Oh,
Yeah.
Baba Laika, yeah.
Yeah.
He had correspondence with Baba.
Yeah, he did have.
Did he meet Baba?
At the time with Alan
No, he
Cohen
didn't.
and
Yeah,
all the
yeah,
other.
yeah.
There was a lead article in the New York Times magazine section several years ago about him. A very long article about him and how he had, been on the drug scene. He had one of the principal figures on the drug scene with Alan Cohen and the other fellow from Boston.
But I don't know whether you have read another article. Some years ago it came in the paper, his own experience. After him being Baba and all that, he thought that he would get into something else, you see. He knew his shortcomings, he knew that he had not the experience, the ultimate experience and all that sort of thing. And then he came in contact with somebody and what happened to him. Have you heard of that?
No.
This woman from Brooklyn.
Yeah,
He's
this
from
woman.
Brooklyn too.
The woman from
that's the
Brooklyn?
article you're talking about.
No.
No, he's not talking. That is a different one he's talking.
Who was most? If you mention her
She some or other, she was supposed to be a guru.
Oh, no. I
And
haven't heard.
then he went and lived with her and became his disciple after all this Baba business, you see.
Yeah. I mean, he was the principal figure in the movement, and she was the Shakti, consort. Is that what you mean?
No.
Oh.
He became actually the follower of this woman,
Oh, she was the
She was a guru,
Oh,
yeah.
I see.
Have you heard of that?
No,
The lady named Jaya.
Yeah.
Yes.
That's
Or something like that.
Jaya or Jaya.
Joya.
Something.
As I understand it, it was a provisional surrender when he decided to surrender for a while. And, he finally left her after a few months.
For a while, There's funny ways you see all have provisional ego, provisional surrender and all that sort of thing. Why don't you all have provisional lives? No, but very true confession was there. Yeah, about it all. I admire his frankness, you see, in that article that he wrote.
Yeah, I have a lot of admiration for him.
Yeah, he's a good person. Our case is like Ananda. All of us. Yeah, in one form or another, we get caught up like this. Some with gurus, some with chelas, some with this, and some with women, and some with children, and some with job, and some with responsibilities, some with politics, and some with spirituality, and all this.
But that part of Maya which brought us here is a
Yeah,
is
it's
a
a
good
good
part.
good part. Maya the mother at the time.
Eruch, how can a person love their husband or wife very much, have children, a very involved family life, a job, and still love Baba one-pointedly more than any of the rest?
Yeah.
Love Baba in them, without being caught up.
Yeah. Love Baba in them.
Simple as that.
Simple as that. Suppose if you are bringing up your children, you see. They are your children, no doubt about it. But forget for the time being that you have begotten them. Know this much, that although you have fathered the child, know that the giver is somebody else, you see. And also know that the giver is somebody else, and whom you take to be the child is he. So try to take care of the child as if you are taking care of Baba. And so that's how you have to live in him all the time. Love him in them all. Take care of the child in the sense that you take care of Baba. While you are taking care of the child, be beholden to Baba, having given you this charge of taking care of him through the child. You follow? That's how your mental attitude should be.
And what should the attitude be to the husband and wife?
Same thing. Same thing.
He's loving Baba
Yeah,
and
yeah,
taking care of Baba.
yeah.
Francis has a very nice stanza that capsules this whole thing.
Yeah.
in Stay
Say,
with God.
if you remember.
Remember the love of your loves, all are pleased with the gift, but few praise the giver until another snatches away the gift. Behind the Sunday. What?
He say repeat it.
Remember the love of your loves. All are pleased with the gift, but few praise the giver until another snatches away the gift. Behind the Sundays and the moon nights is the glory and gentleness of the sun and the moon of the perfect Master. Francis Brotherton.
એટલે લેનાર આપનાર એ જ છે, એવન જ છે. આપણને મળ્યું છે, આપણે કરી રહ્યા છીએ એવન છે. હા. Yeah.
I still have a little trouble with that idea of loving Baba in other people. I mean, like you said, well, imagine they are Baba.
But why have you the botheration of loving Baba in other people? Just love him and that will be loving everybody. All right, what is that? What is that difficulty?
Well, it's just like I was sort of wondering what that means. Well, I'm supposed to pretend they're Baba and I'm supposed to serve them.
No, no.
Imagine, well, they really have all this
Don't
Baba.
imagine, you see. No.
I have trouble with the concept of free will.
Yeah, let us deal with her first of all. Why are you sitting there? Can't you come close to us?
I have a cold.
So what is there in that if you have cold? The best would be to distribute that cold and so that we all be sick, you see, and we save botheration of sitting here and meeting. Or something. No, what Baba wants us to do is to, you see, if he says that if you are loving, say, anybody, a Tom, say X or Y, you will get yourself attracted to the person. You are innocently loving, you get attached to the person. If you are not attracted, you get attached to the person, to his capabilities or to his weaknesses or to his being, retarded. Something is there that you get attached to it. Eh? So what happens is that attachment is not desirable. What he wants is to get yourself attached to him. So if you were to love him in that person and getting attached to the person would be tantamount to getting attached to him. Because if you were to love him, so then what it means is, suppose we take the case of Abe is a retarded person. And because he is retarded, you begin to love him, take care of him, tender care of him and all that sort of thing. And you get attached to Abe. But not Abe, but you are loving Baba in him. And you taking greater care of Abe by, not because you are attached to Abe, but because you are attached to Baba in him.
Does that mean the qualities you associate with Baba that are in him?
Yeah. Baba is so disabled, Baba is mentally little retarded and all that in him.
Yeah, that's
it's like that.
I can see that.
Yeah, it is to be that. It is to be that. It's a fact.
Oh, I thought it meant just the good things.
Everything. You have no idea how a person who came over here, I don't know whether you all know about O'Donnell, some J. O'Donnell, you know, a person by name?
McDonald or
O'Donnell. What happened is, he didn't believe or want to believe in Baba. His wife, I forget her name, what was the name of his wife? She had come. A very intelligent lady, smart and everything, you know, fashionable even call her. I remember her, if she were to come, by her hat only, the tilt the hat would have and the bow and all that sort of thing. She would sit here with her hat on and all that. A lady, Western lady. What was her name? Do you all know? Barbara or something, Bal Nathu will remember because he has a good memory for names. So she came and she was here, she was so quiet, and of course time and again I would try to provoke a question or an answer from her, but she kept herself aloof. She you know how certain persons are in their habits and all that. So she would all the time be here, hear Baba stories and all that. She loved everything. Now it's time for her to go. So, and it is Thursday. And she's leaving that same day. Thursday being my day here, well, not many people were there at the time. So it was tea time. So I had sat there outside. So she comes to me and sits there. I says, Eruch, now I'm leaving today. I said, yeah. But all the days that you were here, I tried to make you speak, you never spoke to me, you are really cross with me. I tried to just tease her. She says, no, and this and that. I said, well, you never even told us your story as to how you came. I tried to ask you and all that. Well, if you had a good stay, well, I am very happy about it. She says, no, but I have come close to you just now to tell you my story. She says, after all these days that you stayed here, you have come now, the last hour. This is the time when I should tell you. So you know what story she says? It's a beautiful thing. The gist of it is that she said that my coming over here is because I love him, love Meher Baba very much. And I have visited the center and all that. I have a very good husband and so forth and so on. Many things are there, but I'm not going to touch on that. Very good husband, mind you. And he's a scientist or something like that, working in some atomic physics or something like that. I don't know what it is. So, on my birthday, last birthday, he gave me a gift. And while giving me a gift, he had written in a little note that I wanted to give a gift which you will not be able to return to me. You know, when a person gives a gift for my birthday, naturally I would look forward to your birthday if you were to give me, so I'll have to give something to you in return. You know, that's the habit, that's the tradition. So something that you will not be able to return to me for my birthday. And here is the check for you to, I know that your love for Meher Baba is so great that I give you this check. And she was so overjoyed, you know, to have that check, to go to India for Baba, from him who does not believe in Baba. What made him do that? So, it was a story that comes to my mind of that great prince, you know. That story we'll say some other day. So what happened is that she of course goes and she's very, very pleased, very happy, hugs him and she is very happy and pleased with him. He says, what made you do that? He says, well, I know of your love for Meher Baba. And of course, well, I have this money and you can go. And I had this little king that something I must give you which you will not be able to return to me. And this is the thing, you can't give me a ticket to Meher Baba. Although if you want to, you won't be, because she didn't have the money. He was the one who would control and all that sort of thing. So she laughed and he laughed and all that. But what made him give that check is a story in itself. It's just the same thing that good things or bad things, should we love him? What is he? So he seems to be the lover of Ramakrishna from his childhood. Ramakrishna, you know? Paramahamsa. Yeah. And his love is, he's so convinced about Ramakrishna that he says, yeah, I have no need for Meher Baba or anything. Yeah, anybody. And it's so true. What is there if you were to love Ramakrishna is loving Meher Baba? Yeah. Truly loving. But Ramakrishna and Meher Baba cannot be equated. Remember that. So now what he sees in his dream, this is not a dream which he calls a vision, but she used to call it a dream. So the dream, so I told her that, then she narrated the whole dream. And I said, look here, I think her name was Barbara. I said, Barbara, this is no good. At the 12th hour, now she's, after tea, mind you, she has to leave. The man is blowing the horn there for the rickshaw man. So Barbara, this is like teasing us. Is this the way that you tell us the story and you are leaving? He says, what can I do? I was so shy about it all and this and that. And I said, and we met and all. I said, will you do one thing? Will you go back and send it in writing, this dream that you have narrated of your husband that brought him to Baba? He says, but he will himself come very soon. Yes. I said, will he come? He says, yeah, I hope so. Now this will bring him here, naturally. So I said, okay, very good, and so forth. So what the dream is, the gist of the dream is that it seems that, he is in contact with Ramakrishna Paramahansa and the Indian setup and all that sort of thing. It seems that he is somewhere in the forest area. This is his dream, mind you, now. He begins it with the dream. And when he is in this dream state, in his dream he is led to a forest area. In the forest area he meets a lady who is a goddess. And she is carrying something in a basket. And I confront her and she waits and I see. And all that she does is she smiles and takes something out and gives to me. And I eat it, accept it with thankfulness. And as soon as I eat it, it becomes a vision now. It's not a dream anymore. And what do I see? That I am transported at a corner in the forest itself. It's a different area now. And that area, in that area there's a building. I'm telling the dream of that O'Donnell. Barbara, her name was Barbara? Huh? Barbara? O'Donnell. So there, I'm transported to a building there. And in front of the building there's a huge crowd there. And I'm seeing myself there, and I'm seeing the crowd, and everything is there. And what I'm seeing is, I'm getting closer and closer, that this crowd is of people, variety of nationalities, variety of ailments, variety of things, you see. But what I see, at the door there's a big lock to the building. And a blind person is trying to open the lock for all of them to get inside. But it's not possible because the blind person, he has the key but he cannot put it in the keyhole, So there's a little, how it is with the blind, yeah. But to my utter surprise, when I see this, that there is another blind person by his side, and that is Meher Baba. He is taking and trying to help him, you see, to get the key inside the keyhole. And it's not possible, and they are struggling there. And then my look goes to somewhere else. I said, what happened? Meher Baba is blind? I had heard that he is silent. But is he blind? He was blind too. Why do I see like this? So then he turns his face somewhere else, and then there is a lame person there, wanting to pick up something or wanting to do something, and he is struggling to do that. And by his side, near his shoulder, Meher Baba is also likewise. He is trying to do that. He is trying to help him out. But he is a lame person himself, but he is trying to help him to pick up that thing. Likewise, there is also somebody, you see, who is mentally demented. And he wants to, he has some food there. And he is lapping like a dog there, instead of eating, mentally depressed. So there he sees Meher Baba also by his side, in that same bowl, lapping this. So she is noticing him crying in his, whatever he is seeing. They are all sleeping in the same room and same bed most probably. So there, sometimes he is crying and sometimes he is laughing. Sometimes he is crying and sometimes he is laughing. So eventually when he got up from the stage, so Barbara asked him, says, what is it? What was happening there? Why are you crying and laughing? We never see any people having dreams or nightmares in which alternatingly you laugh and cry and all that. He says, what can I tell you? What I have seen today. He says, what is it? What did you see? So then he described this. What made me cry was the pitiable conditions, the helplessness of human folk. And laughing at the same time I see the Creator, Him being in all, exactly like His creatures, Himself struggling in the human form.
For the blind as a blind.
Yeah, as a blind as a blind, as a lame, as a demented person, and many things she's told us. So that's how it is. So what we have to do, he is all this. All what we have to do is to tune ourselves into, in any situation, tune ourselves into him. And he is that.
Did he come to India?
He has still not come. This happened I think, when was it?
Maybe last year.
Late last year, yeah. Or was it this March? Before this March? Yeah, before the end of the season.
She said this in the letter that we received letter.
When she sent the letter when in March? I think it was in 1981 that she came. This is 1981 end, but it was at the beginning, maybe. But she hasn't yet. He hasn't come yet, or he may have come. But what was his he is not called by O'Donnell.
No.
Barbara O'Donnell, and now in the States this is the difficulty. Yeah.
One of the difficulties.
One of the difficulties.
I could name you others.
Yeah. What was his name? She wrote that. I didn't know, but later on when she wrote a letter that he'll be by this name coming. And we have forgotten also that name. May have come and gone, who knows?
Was he willing to come here?
Huh? Yeah, he wanted to come.
After this
after this he wanted.
He is all in all.
Yeah. This vision led him to give the check to his wife. To come here.
At the same time, he had to convince him that.
Yeah.
As Gary ने तो lunch setting नवीन लोग अलग का time for lunch.
So then why don't you? What time is it?
Because Gary isn't here, so that.
Yeah. So I thought that Abe would take his place, but he is so entangled in Maya that he forgets all. Yeah. You all please go for it, but carry through till I was a teenager, till he came into my life and took away my song.
You became his song.
Oh, it's a good thing to, it's a good thought.
Hey, you're sharing.
Yeah.
That's nice. Like Baba.
No, but it would give, I used to feel that it gave delight to others, because of the tunes that were synchronizing with the screen, the things that were shown on the screen. Good old days they were. Nowadays when you all sing, and especially Jenny from Australia and the Australians when they sing, to me their voices appear like whispers.
Really, compared to yours?
Compared to mine. Because I had to throw my voice, in the theatre.
Above the sound of the projector.
Because there were no public address systems or loudspeakers or anything at the time.
So you were more like an opera singer, really.
Yeah.
Jeff can sing that.
Yes, he can. If he's
But
in
he doesn't
that,
want to.
He has the samadhi renovating.
if he stands in the corner of the samadhi, just, I don't know, Baba had it so constructed that the voice goes out like that.
That's such
It was just about free will, and I don't know if I'll ever get it resolved. It was about
Free will issue can never be will never be resolved.
free will issue.
Free will issue, will never be resolved. You see.
This is predestined, this conversation.
Come here.
Okay.
I know after lunch you all want to have little back rests. You see, of the walls. No, when he comes, you can sit here. Time and again Baba has touched this issue about the free will. And he says there is no will except divine will. There's no such thing as free will. Whatever little free will that you experience as if you are exercising, it is your self-will. But that self-will has been determined by you, and as it is determined by you, you may call it your free will, but you haven't the freedom of the very title or caption of that, we call it free will, but it's not free at all. So he gave us a figure about it. And the figure is this, that now Patty cycles the distance from Mehrabad to Mehrazad, every day, every time whenever she comes. And she feels so free, and she cycles and says, I'm free, I don't want to come by bus or anything else. She exercises a free will on cycling, you see. She says, I can cycle and I exercise my free will. I want to cycle and come here. That's wonderful, yeah. But does she have that free will to cycle there? But she cycles, you see it, that she cycles there. But then Baba says, how does she happen to cycle? Because that free will of her cycling is hooked on to the divine will of the gravitational force and the forces of friction. Without that, it's impossible for her to cycle the distance, you see. You know what I mean? What Baba has said? There are these different forces that work which make her exercise her so-called free will, you see. But it is all hooked on to the divine will. So whatever little will that you may be having is your self-will, as long as you wish to determine yourself and assert yourself. That I want to go on cycles, so that is the thing, yeah. So that is not your free will, because you cannot have, what is the matter with this?
They come into your living room.
We're taking a tour of Mehrabad.
Exercise free will.
Pero suele ગયા છે.
કે ઘાસ જેવું બધું હતું ને એટલે કે લઈ આવશે.
કે લઈ આવ્યા છે.
Eric, when you say self-will, you're substituting the word self. You're not using self-will as divine will. You're
No,
saying
self. Yeah, your petty self, as patty self, not petty, patty self, Eruch self, Alf self, like that, you see. But yeah, that's what Baba says, that you assert. As long as you wish to assert yourself as Eruch, Patty, Alf and all that, so you're exercising your self-will. But Baba says, you're not Patty, you're not Eruch. But I say, yeah, I'm Eruch. So you're exercising your self-will. You follow? As long as you exercise or assert your self-will in trying to keep yourself separate from the oneness of all existence, that is called the self-will. But it's not free will. It is totally governed by the divine will. So therefore it is misnomer to make it a free will.
I guess you only have free will when you become realized, then your will is free.
That is free will. That is, free means divine will.
Yeah, when you realize.
Pardon?
Somebody once explained it, wasn't it, that it was like a master taking a doggy for a walk?
Yeah,
and
so
the
many
master's
things.
Baba, and the doggy may go here or there, but he's ultimately going to go down the path.
That's what I'm
of the
saying. Just as she can cycle the distance because she wants to, she loves to, she does so. But it's all governed by the forces of gravitation, forces of friction and all that.
And in your decisions, if you come, you're in your living, and you come to a point in your life where you have 2 or 3 options for a particular problem. And so that at that point when you review your options and maybe you take a path that you don't think is perhaps.
Don't use the word perhaps or may or this or that. When you assert yourself, say, I take a path that I will go this way. So that's all. That's your self-will asserted. Yeah, self-will asserted.
Even when you say Baba's all-knowing and knows that you're going to do all this anyway?
Yeah, he is knowing all this and that's what he has done, you see. Having known all this, he has predetermined that you should take this path and that you assert, you and call it your self-will. Yeah, you call it self-will then. Or free will as people call generally. That I have asserted my free will and I do this. I want to be that, yeah.
But it seems like Baba already knows that you're going to do that anyway because you get yourself, whether you've been in the same situation.
Baba is not to know. Baba is not to know.
Baba does not know what you're going to do?
I don't say Baba does not know, Baba has not to know. It's a different thing, you see, from does not know and has not to know.
What is has not to know?
Yeah. You see, but do you have to know whether the child now, right on the very verge of dropping from a cliff, will drop down? You have not to know that. So therefore you hold the child, you see. You have not to know it, that will drop down dead or anything. So because you have not to know, you know it already. Therefore you don't have to know it. You see.
Does not have to know. Is that what you mean?
Yeah, you don't have to know it. And another thing is, that leads us to this other argument or debate, you see. You know what Baba said is that not a leaf quivers without his will.
Not to what?
A leaf without his will. Without, if he, yeah. So what does it mean? Does he? No leaf can dance without my will. Not a leaf quivers without my will. So what does it mean? Means he continues to exercise his will every time, each time there? What is that? What does it mean? Just as Patty asserts her self-will, and I say he has not to know it. That means you said, does he not know it? I said, no, he has not to know it. What does it mean? Means, who is asserting this? It is the heart is at it has flared up, just as you have the flares in the sun. It just flares up, you see. But you want to become one. You don't want to be the heart. You want to be it, the flame itself. You see, the effulgence.
And that is an obstacle also.
Pardon?
Is that obstacle also?
Yeah, that is also obstacle. So then what happens? Just wait. Don't be too hasty. Then what happens? The flare-up is so great that obstacle automatically disappears by His grace, and you begin to derive the charm of loving instead of becoming Him, instead of wanting to become Him, instead of wanting to merge in Him, you derive the charm of loving. Then you begin to love. Then you realize, then you become aware of what this great purpose of this whole creation is, nothing but to love. That's all. There is no purpose behind it except to love. It's nothing but love. So you begin to love. The charm of loving is there. Then you even forget whom you are loving. You are loving. Then that beloved, that divine beloved, that real self of yours,